The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello.
I don't know if Georgie will know what she's looking for. I don't know if I know what
I don't know if I can hear. Hello? Oh, hello.
Hello, you okay?
Hi, yes, are you?
Yes, I'm all right, thank you. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, no, I can hear you fine. Sorry, I just needed to plug it into my computer. I couldn't quite hear you.
No, that's all right. It's difficult, isn't it, sometimes? Firstly, I'll introduce myself. So my name's Amy, as you know. I'm a digital solutions manager for Support, to help you out for anything digital. Originally, a bit of history, I suppose. I was an assessor and an IQA for a few years, and then I've been within City and Guilds in the quality delivery team as their quality delivery coach, and then a few months ago came into this role. So I've got a bit of insight from quality and digital.
Okay. Oh, well, it's nice to meet you.
You too. Do you want to just tell me a little bit about what you do within the centre, and then and how e-functional skills fits in with your role?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Georgie, and I do a lot with the functional skills sort of tracking and reporting for all of our learners, making sure that they get everything completed when it needs to be done, sort of talking them through the process. So at the moment, I'm trying to get to grips with the website fully and make sure that I've got everything that I can to sort of help our learners, and if there's sort of any extra resources that I'm not already using that are available on the website.
Okay, so have you had any into the learner side and the tutor side already?
Yeah, so what I can tell you, so basically we did have a different sort of account manager who wasn't particularly great, should I say. He was more to do with Hodder than City and Guilds. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he doesn't seem to be very familiar with the website, and he was telling us a lot of the incorrect information,
right,
which wasn't great, to be honest. So I started a cohort of learners on the dynamic learning, and he was sort of telling me lots of different things, which in actual fact made the system come up with a ton of errors.
Right, okay.
So we've had quite a lot of trouble with it, but then when I spoke to Darren Mobs,
yeah,
he actually was great and showed us how it was supposed to be used, and so we've decided to obviously have this webinar and sort of discuss everything in full again, to make sure what we were taught isn't going to be used.
Do you want me to log into the learner just for a refresher on what they see?
Yeah, no, that'd be great, thank you.
Okay, so let me get so small on my screen. E-learner. Right, okay, so I'll start with as a bit of a refresher, and stop me at any point. So
yeah, no problem.
The learner logs in, this is what I see, so it's quite nice and clean for them so that it's not too much to take in. You've got your three key boxes here, and the first one that you see is this to-do list. So this is everything. As soon as you log in and allocate them initial assessment, this will appear in the to-do list. All they would do is click in it, and then it would bring up the initial assessment at the level that it starts on. This is entry level 3 because I had a bit of a play with it earlier on. It starts off at level 1 for us, and then depending on how many questions they get right or wrong, it moves up and down dependent, rather than when you've got them stronger learners, which obviously most of them coming in are going to be. If they're starting at entry level 1 and it says, how can you identify a 20 pence piece, they kind of shut off straight away. So starting it at that level 1 pitches it to get their brain going, and then it doesn't take as long, because I had learners that we didn't use this, and about an hour and 20 minutes later they were still going, and that was just on 1. So this makes it a little bit more engaging for the learner, and it gets their brain going off in the right bit. So all they would do is work through the questions. I'm just going to put in some text, so obviously it will all come out tremendously poor. Anything, make it bigger so it can work on phones and tablets as well. and then they would, as they go along, click through to the end. See, I'm not this either good or poor English, depending on. The average is between 15 and 17 per initial assessment. This one's a bit less because once they've go in.
I mean, obviously, all of our learners, so the type of learners we have tend to be for quite high standards. So they're all sort of in managerial positions within the workplace.
Yeah, so they probably start at that level 1, and then they probably just go to the level 2 and do that, and it will come out nice and relatively fast.
Yeah, because majority of our learners have, well, all of our learners so far have completed level 2 absolutely fine, apart from 2 who then got diagnostics.
Okay.
So out of the 4 cohorts we have currently on the functional skills, only 2 have come out with diagnostics.
That makes your life a little bit easier.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, that was another question I just wanted to sort of ask you, is when we do obviously have such a high caliber of learner, what sort of the method is with dynamic learning, and you know, where would it go from there? Because obviously not many of them will be using the diagnostics, and I am aware that there is the exam scenarios and then the practice papers, but is there anything before the exam scenarios that we could give them?
Yeah, when I pop onto the tutor side, I'll get a load of stuff up for you that you may or may not have seen.
Okay.
To support them with, you know, getting at that really high level as well, you know, like the extra little bits of practice.
Yeah.
Once they've gone through their initial assessment, they would then see their results. It would give them a percentage in how many they got right or wrong. Once they're in it, they can click review, which shows them the question they got wrong and the answer they gave, which supports in their self-learning, and if you wanted to use it from a tutor side to work through that. Once they've completed it, it will then show in that how I'm doing section. So it'll say these are the tests you've completed, so they can always go back and refer. When you allocate lessons on your side, which is what I'll show you in a moment, it will all show on here, and they'll have lessons that has been assigned, which they can start working through. So that's it for the learner side. Nice and straightforward, but it gives an opportunity to work through loads of different things. Any questions on that?
Just, you know, the view my report section.
On your
on how am I doing on the learner side.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. So what does that look like?
So I'll just do it for maths at the moment. You can choose levels and topics, etc. You press OK, and it would give them an overview of how many tests they've taken, their average percent, and then it would and when they've taken it and how many times, you know, if they keep trying, how long it's taken them to do it, and then again they can click back into that review tab.
Right, okay. And you know, the in the top right sort of corner it says time and dynamic learning.
Yes.
How well does that function work? Because some of our learners are coming up saying that they've not logged in yet, they've managed to do their exams.
Oh, they haven't logged in at all?
It says that time in dynamic learning, it'll say not logged in, but they've done their initial assessments.
Oh, let me pick that up, because that shouldn't be the case. This is how many hours or minutes they have actually been interactively using it, so doing their tests and diagnostics. So it should be tallying. It would be good if we could get it properly working, because obviously that can go towards their time during their learning, which they, you know, they have to cover a certain amount of hours over their program. Yeah, have you got at all any examples of that, or next time you're with a learner, whether you could screenshot it?
Bear with me one moment. I'm just going to have a look.
And I'll send it to the product team and see if there's any errors or anything that there's a reason for it.
Yeah, bear with me. Yeah, so I've got one here, Elizabeth Ajayo.
Okay, yeah.
She's one of our learners on the Collinson cohort. Yeah. And so I've downloaded her report, you know, where you can download after they've done like the assessment, and it comes up with the time, the score, etc.
Yeah.
So it comes up with the time, which is fine in the table, but where it says time in dynamic learning, it says this user has not logged in.
Ah, can you screenshot that for me?
I can
And email it.
Yeah, I can send you this. And what email, sorry, am I using?
My one, so it's amy.lang, that's Lang,
Yeah.
at cityandguilds.com.
Is it city and as in a symbol and?
AND.
And was it .com, sorry?
Yeah.
Okay, and what would you like me to subject it as?
Just put EFS for e-functional skills, and then I'll once it comes through, I'll pick it up with the product team and I'll send it on to them in Glasgow. And then they'll be able to look on the back system. So they may not get an answer today, but they should do by Monday just to see what the error is.
Yeah, no problem. I'll do that for you now.
Thank you. Is there anything else on the learner side that you've got questions on?
No, I don't think there's anything else on the learner sort. Oh, actually, before you look, oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
I was just going to ask about the messenger sort of side of it. What actually goes into there?
So that could be, I'll open up mine. So this is when there's a new test due. So it could be when they've allocated initial assessments or they've allocated diagnostics, etc. It will just pop up in their message tab. So as well as having it on their to-do list, it's almost like an alert. So can you see there it says 2?
Yeah.
So it's just another way to say to them, like, you've got something to do.
Just saying what there is.
I've clicked on it and now it will bring up what they have to do.
Right. Okie dokie.
Okay. Just to, I know what it's like.
Yeah.
Okay, so then in the assessor or tutor package, there we go. So then, are you happy with how to add learners and tutors?
I've done it, but my thing is that, so I have a functional skills trainer
Yeah.
who needs to be able to access all the reports and the relevant sort of things, but she also needs to be able, or does she need to be on here?
So she needs to be a
Teacher admin.
yeah.
Okay.
Because the teacher one is just to look at reports and look at learners, whereas the teacher admin, they can assign resources and initial assessments, etc.
Oh, fab. Right, brilliant. And is there a way to check? Because I think I must have just put her up as a teacher. Is it quite simple for me to change her to a teacher admin?
Yeah, so if I go into my teacher admin, and then you click on the user, then you can view user, and then here you just change that drop down box.
Oh, fab. That's great.
If you want her to have a second one, so it's got a tutor for some and then teacher admin for others, which quite a lot of people do, you know, if you need it to support in any way, then they add her as a second one, and then you can have that as teacher admin and teacher. So there can be 2 logins, depending on how you want to manage that. And then it's
right, okay.
easy. You can, if you untick, that will make someone, oh, I can't do that one because that's an admin, but you can untick, because you're the super user, you can untick to delete people and make them inactive.
Right.
So you can do that's the same with students as well. So if for any reason you didn't want them to have access to the platform anymore, if they left, etc., you can just untick the student.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And then, are you comfortable with managing your groups within that?
Yeah, I've made groups before. I don't think there's anything other than just putting a group of people into a group, is there? That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, as long as you're all right with that, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so then on your front page, you've got your teaching and learning resources and initial assessments on this, but you can have eyes with allocating it to your learners.
Well, if you could just quickly go through it, just want to double check that the way I've been doing it is the correct way.
Okay, so it's on here. When it says that figure here remaining, anytime that goes to 0, you can just click order, and then it will order more for free, because your initial assessments are always free. So don't feel like if you press order, you get them anyway.
Okay.
Hundreds. Search the user. or you can find them within here. Let me find one that's not had something allocated. Oh, there we go. So these haven't been
Yeah, no, I think that, yeah, that's pretty much what I've done before. So yeah, that's great.
won't issue their diagnostics depending on your license. And I think with we do your yeah. So just for your resources, in yours is it's got the little magnifying glass there. It will then bring up a bit of an introduction video, a student guide, the reference guides, and then in your initial assessment tab, this will bring up all the initial practice papers as well, answers,
Okay.
the interactive tests. So you little L. Sorry.
What would the retired papers be used for? And is that what, like purely practice papers, or what would they normally use that for?
So it's practice papers. So it's papers that have been in the system and now have come out.
Right.
Use them for a bit of resources. And has got wants to do it paper based because they don't want to use this yet. Then you can print them off, so they can be used however you see fit.
Yeah, and could you show, so say if our learners did paper versions for whatever reason,
Yeah.
how do we upload the the answers so the report comes out?
Good question. I've never been asked that, Let me have a look, see if I can work it out. If not, I can ask.
No problem. I'll give you a minute.
But it's a very good question. Go back home. Right, let's find a learner.
Thinking about for those learners who don't have all access for a computer at that particular time, because it's very much up in the air at the moment that we'll always be using computers. There is an idea that we might be using paper versions every now and again. Interesting to me to know.
No, but yeah, I will find out for you if that's something that it does do, obviously, as well.
Yeah,
and
that would be great.
In the pipeline, because there's a lot of development work going on at the moment. More things are being added to it, obviously, because you've always got access to answers and questions so that you can keep looking at them. And if you were to mark it on paper, you've got the answer. The next lot of resources you've got is this and learning resources. Now there's loads.
Okay.
Click on it. So you've got an introduction as well. Sometimes it is a good idea, the student user guide. If you click that little L with a plus, you can allocate that to lessons. So if I wanted it to go to my cohort A, I click on there and click add to lesson, and then it will add it into their lesson plan. So sometimes for your new cohorts of learners, etc., you can allocate them a guide so that they feel confident in it.
Oh, okay. Because how I've done that part is I've made an induction lesson, including the introductory video and the student user guide, and then I had to allocate the lesson to all of my new cohorts.
Yeah.
So that works that way, does it?
Yeah, and copy it over. That's fine.
Right, fab.
Cool. So then you've got all your options down here. Again, you've got your initial assessments, just so they're in the same place as well. Your diagnostic resources. So anything that's got, and it might not be in this one, it'll be in the other one. So if I click on like level 1 and then choose a multiplication division, that little running man, if you can see there.
Yeah.
Like interactive, anything that's normally a video that would talk through a bit of an introduction.
At level 1, you need to be able to multiply and divide whole numbers in different ways.
Okay, so that's your little running man. You've then got it in text version as well as a PDF. And then you've got tasks. So it's, you've listened to go and see how you get on. And then it will give you another test. A lot of people like, there we go. So in exam scenarios down there, you've got learner tips again, but can you see that one says whiteboard on it?
Yeah.
This is really good if you have like a classroom based or a cohort of learners that you would teach together. It's an interactive student response B. So you can talk through, what was right working out, what was wrong, where one has gone wrong, where they may have read the question wrong, etc. All your resources, and then it will give you the exams questions, the mark schemes, and everything within here. If you wanted them to have a go at it without the response in the time, you can give them the questions and put the timer on so that they've got an accurate exam condition, you know, to be able to help them time manage as well. And then you can obviously go over it with their response, can make that bigger and talk through it. So a lot of people love that ability to bring up sort of an interactive lesson as well. And then you've got exam papers here, which are the City and Guilds exam papers. Or you can do it online, if you tick that, the graph looking one, then that's the online version. But you can choose either or. The bonus is written by the same people that write the City and Guilds papers. So it supports the learners in understanding the language. When I was an assessor before, we used City and Guilds Maths and English, but we used a different platform for the initial assessments and diagnostics. And a lot of my learners, I can remember sitting there once and this learner said, I can't do this because I don't understand what they're asking me, because it was very different wording. Whereas this, because it's written by them, it builds them up to understanding that exam language. Yeah. So there are your resources and your subcategories within there. Yeah, does that help with them resources?
No, definitely. That was good to find all that out. Yeah. I mean, a lot of it I sort of already knew, but you went in more depth, which was helpful. Thank you.
It's good to know what them little symbols are. I was like, why is there a man?
Yeah.
Exactly the same for English as well. Diagnostics, they automatically get given the diagnostics and the resources. It will be up in their to-do list. But like you were saying, if you wanted a learner to push themselves a bit more, or for example, it hadn't brought anything up in their reading exam because they got level 2, but you actually wanted them to do some practice and some additional work towards it, if you go into it and just assign them that task or that lesson, then it builds on what they've done, and there's going to be some stuff that they might not know the answer to or may need some work on.
No, aren't they? Yeah. Log in to be able to assign it, and she can go through all of the learners and see.
Yeah, make sure it's teacher admin, and then she can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's loads of stuff for them to be working on, and you can just keep allocating it. It's even okay.
And then you click on the learner, and then you can click run report and download it.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking really is, so when it comes to their exam scenarios and they've had feedback off the tutor, is that feedback included in their report?
No, you mentioned it. Let me just go back. Because some of it obviously by the system, and then everything else, like you say, can be marked by the teacher. Marking.
Otherwise, it's good for the learner on a sort of for records.
Yeah.
Because we need our tutor to duplicate it essentially, because we need that information to prove that she's given the learner feedback.
Yeah. Right, let me see if this person's done it. They've not put anything in there. What I might do is I might just ask the product team if they have an example of one that they've done of feedback in the system. Because like I said, I don't have it on my demo site, but then
I have it on my system.
Yeah.
I have learners who completed level 2 exam scenarios.
Got it. I just need to.
Sorry?
I've got it. I just need to see how I got there. So.
Oh, okay.
Marking, all received. So, are you comfortable with how to mark?
No. Well, so shall I? So we go to marking, do we?
Yeah. And then you see where it says received from me. So when a test paper comes up, they can click on it.
Yeah.
And then, where did I just go to? There we go, on the main one. So you click on their name, on the row, sorry, rather than their name.
Okay, you click on the row.
The paper. This is the question. So open it, and then this is the student's answer.
Okay.
And then your feedback would go in here. And then your next answer. Oh, sorry, give them a total mark. So let's say 9 out of 12. It'll show you the mark scheme there.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can see in comparison to what the learner's written, that all comes up there.
Yeah.
You give them the feedback, and then go next answer, your feedback, how you think they've done, and then done mark.
And so how do I download that? So all that feedback's on your website, but how do I download it? So it includes the feedback. Is it just printed?
But I'm not sure of a way to get it on a report. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So you know how we do the report.
The results, rather than just you've got you want actual written feedback.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Example of feedback in the system or written feedback rather than just marks. Yeah, I'll double check that with them and find out if, because that can always be put in, and it is a really good point that you need to be able to keep referring back to that.
Well, it's what it is if say the ESFA come in or Ofsted come in and they say I want proof that you've written feedback, appropriate feedback. So when we have learner files, and it's all good and well me showing them the website, but we need it all together in one space.
Yes. Yeah, so what happens is when you mark it, you get all received there is all the marking that's received for you. So if I submit something to my tutor, it will get received in there. So received for me would be 1 if it was my student.
Yeah.
Once it's marked, it does come into here for you to go back, but it doesn't bring all their papers they've ever done. So anything you've marked comes in here, and you can click on it, and it will bring up what you've marked.
Is there any way you could click print? Does it show what the print? Can you show me what the printout looks like?
If I press print there, and then you can do all answers or current answers. This might work for you for what you're looking for. And then you go open, and it will bring it up in a document. There you go. So this tells you the question, the student, total marks available, the marks gathered, student response, and then your teacher's comments.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Obviously, it's just a test one, so it's gobbledygook. But
yeah, of course, yeah. Well, I'll have to get that sent off to our quality assurance manager. Down to her, that's sort of not my area of expertise.
No,
that's really good to know. That might actually work.
Yeah,
because you can save it from the Word document, then, can't you?
Yeah, because there's obviously a report that you can pull that gives them all their marks. But a report will only, for the written feedback, will just be task-based. So this exam paper and then this exam paper. It won't give it over the year. If you're trying to show a journey, it will just show for this exam paper, this is your feedback. So see if that works. I'm record all these webinars so I can send it to you. So when you're going through it, you can show her what I've done as well.
Yeah, that would be fab.
So see if that marking grid is enough for you, because if you needed it secure, you can always turn it into a PDF, if you needed it uneditable.
Yeah, no, I think I would probably have to turn it into a PDF, but
if it stays within the system, it won't ever get deleted unless you get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay.
That might work.
I'm just having a look at some questions. Sorry, I wrote a few questions down, just making. So, obviously, you've got a lot of video, the process, and then exam scenarios, and then practice exam papers, and then obviously they will then progress to doing their actual exam. What happens if someone was to fail their actual exam? What other resources do you have available? Because say if they didn't have to do diagnostics or workbooks and they went straight to their exam scenarios,
Yeah.
They would have already done those exam scenarios. There wouldn't be any extras.
Yeah. I would reallocate them some diagnostics by sending them a lesson. If they've jumped around and not thought they needed to do it and then did, I would reallocate them diagnostics.
Right. Okay. What I'm saying is, if a learner has done everything they can possibly do within dynamic learning, because at the moment when I allocate the exam scenarios, I allocate all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was said that's the best thing for them to do.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if a learner has to go through that process again of learning again, there wouldn't be anything that's different. They would just be doing the same thing.
Yeah, so it is kind of all the resources we've got are built into this. I know soon, in 4 to 6 months, apparently, I found this out today, there's something called Open Assess coming, and that is going to be linked to e-functional skills, etc. Where it's extra practice papers and stuff like that. So it looks the same as it would do in Evolve, but it's got loads and loads of practice papers and stuff. So there is more coming. But at the moment, what's in e-functional skills is in there. I know that obviously with the reforms coming in next year, they are now working on all the more resources and more exam papers and stuff. So there won't be anything additional added in here at the moment because it'll be working on the reforms. You can obviously upload your own resources if you think there's something that you know works by going into lessons, and then you can upload your own resource there.
Oh, okay.
Or a web link and share it with.
Say if I uploaded my own resources.
Yeah.
Would the learners who haven't been allocated a license be able to access those lessons? Because it's not essentially part of dynamic learning.
It would trigger a license because it's anything other than the initial assessment.
Okay.
Because if they had access to that resource, they would technically be able to do the diagnostics and the resources as well.
Yeah, no, well, I'm only asking that question because say if you have a learner who has a proxy, so they don't have to do functional skills for the programme, but they don't do well in their initial assessments, but we don't want to just leave that learner, but we can't get any funding for that learner because they've got a proxy.
Yeah.
I was just asking because if I was to find some external resources and upload them onto Hodit, or I don't even know what to call this thing anymore, dynamic learning. Yeah. I just wondered whether they would be able to access those and just keep it all in the same place. But if that's not possible, then
no, it's only a license. Which, to be honest, if they needed some additional learning, etc., then it might be an option to add them on. I know it's going to cost £7 or but if it shows progression and support, then maybe it would be worth doing.
I think it's obviously not my choice, it's from managing directors, so but it's sort of, obviously you can't draw the funds for that learner anyways.
Yeah.
So I was only asking if
no, it does make sense to keep it in one place, but it would draw a license because it is to allow them access to all the resources as well. But if you were to share a web link or something, you could obviously add it in here. It would go to resources and then you could send it via email or something to the other learners. But as far as using e-functional skills resources and what's in there, they would have to have a license.
Right, okay. And web links, how does that all sort of work?
So if you had a resource that went to I don't know, BBC Bite Size, for example, you can put that URL in there, so BBC Bite Size, obviously you'd have to copy it. You could put BBC website and then what it is and what you want them to do. So please look at fraction on here and feedback maybe, but you can put in a URL to some resources or to some external bits in there, and then just add it in, and it would go into there, and then they could click on the link.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that would then come up in their lessons box, would it?
Yeah, so I've just obviously clicked book because I just put BBC Bite. It's not come up, but
Yeah.
And then it would come up in a new web page for them. And then you can generate the link, edit resource, or remove it from the lesson. So you can obviously tailor it to the point you're at within the teaching and learning side of it.
No, yeah, okay, that's fab. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that?
Yeah. Are you comfortable with the group?
With groups is because obviously everyone, regardless of a proxy or not.
Yeah.
So I've been doing, so I'd name a group, the cohort name, and then I'd put initial. So I knew that that was just everyone in the cohort who needed to complete their initial assessments.
Yeah.
And then once they'd done their initial assessments, when it came to allocating lessons, I sort of made them into a new group, because you know when you allocate a lesson, I think you can make a group.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
And so then I'd been naming the cohort name and then put exam. So then I knew that those people in that group were going for the exam.
Yeah, that's what I'd do.
Yeah, is that the best way to do it?
That's what I would do, because you can almost sift out those people that don't need to do those bits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously people can be in as many groups as you like. So that's what I would do. And then it kind of keeps you alert and on top of what you've got, because obviously the more learners you have, it can then get a bit crazy.
No, yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I know it can. Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Also, the initial assessments obviously start at level 1.
Yes.
Say if I was to give the learners the initial assessments at a level 2,
yeah,
what would happen? As in, would it make any errors? Would it throw the system off?
So it would automatically come in at a level 1, and then they'd answer the 17 questions and do it to a level 2.
Yeah, but say if I was just to push them straight to the level 2, so they wouldn't be doing the level 1.
Oh yeah, you can allocate it to them.
Yeah, I know. Well, this is what I did previously, and sort of effect on.
Yeah, of course.
Passing at level 2.
Yeah, I think that's what
I don't really want to be making them do level 1 and then going straight through to level 2. It's just we've had a few people asking like, why am I doing level 1, and a few clients saying, why can't they, start level 2? So it's just sort.
Yeah, for the initial assessments, personally,
trying to please them as well.
Yeah, coming from the quality side of it, I would say, because it's just 17 questions for their initial, just for their initial assessment, I'd probably recommend to get them started on that, because it can show that stretching learning to start with. So you're stretching them initially to even get them at the right level. So it's entirely up to you, obviously, but if they've shown progression in that initial assessment towards 1, it's proving in a way that they're at that level, because they have officially, forcibly been moved up rather than it just being given to them.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think, I know what you're saying.
Does that make sense? The system I used before, don't get me wrong, I'd do exactly the same because it was hours long, but because it is 17 questions and it's a lot more reduced and it starts there, you're showing that you're getting them to stretch their learning and prove that they're at that level rather than just being told they're at that level.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think that's fab, thank you.
Is there anything else you want to go over?
Not that I can think of. No, I think that's everything, to be honest with you. I've not got any further questions.
That's fine. Well, like I say, I'll send that screenshot over to the product team and I'll ask them about I'll wait with that feedback, because I've shown you obviously the written stuff. Have a chat with your quality person and see if that's enough for their feedback, with that a tutor's one on that Word document. If it isn't, then come back to me and we'll have a chat with them. and I'll ask about how the learners can have their paper-based uploaded if they decide to do it on the
Yeah, that would be great. You don't know if there's anything that's come of the exam scenarios where the questions asked them to complete a table or a graph and that option wasn't available?
Joan has sent that to Hodder themselves. So Hodder are just a platform, like they work with City and Guilds to just design the website and everything for us. So she's gone to Hodder on that one. She said if they don't come back to her today, then she's going to chase it first thing on Monday morning. But it's them that design it, so they would know the integral parts of designing that. So she should have an answer pretty soon for you.
Will you tell me, what's the difference between dynamic learning and Hodder and City and Guilds?
Okay, so City and Guilds is the awarding organisation. So we are the people that write the content, write the assessments, and write everything that goes in it. So everything here is licensed to us. Hodder is just the company that that hosts the website. So they do all the coding stuff for us. So we say this is what we want on, and they code it into a website. Dynamic learning is just the website that they've called it. So it's called dynamic learning because it's like your e-learning type thing. But they call it dynamic learning because you've got your e-learning, you've got your PDFs, you've got your written, you've got your, it is literally what it says on the tin, it is dynamic. So Hodder, ignore that because it's just the people that do the coding bits.
Yeah, no, it's just, I think when we initially came with to this website, and obviously I spoke with someone from Hodder, they sort of gave me the impression that Hodder was a bit like an awarding body like City and Guilds, and that they had their own version of sort of what City and Guilds do. Because when you go onto the homepage, obviously you can select to go to Hodder.
Yeah. The Hodder for us, we work with Hodder and they build it for us, but all the content and everything is City and Guilds. So we got internally and externally as well, I suppose. We call it e-functional skills. That's like you can see it on the tab there. It says City and Guilds. E-functional skills up there. So that's what we know it as, e-functional skills. Hodder are just the hosts, if you like.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I know it's a little bit complicated.
No, it is. It's just because obviously you get told so. I've spoken to so many different people, and they've all said something different.
Yeah, it's when we've got learning assistant, and so some people call it LA, some people call it learning assistant, others call it e-portfolio. Like pings around everything and anything. So no, it is confusing, but we call it e-functional skills within like the support team and digital solutions. So yeah, that's the difference, I suppose.
Okay, well, thanks for clearing that one up for me.
No, that's all right. What I'll do, like I said, I've recorded the webinar, so I'll download it and I may turn it into like a YouTube link so you can watch it back.
Yes, that would be good.
Copy of it, and then you can watch it, and then obviously you can show your quality person if you need a refresher of how to get to them reports. It'll be in there as well.
That's fab. Thank you, Amy.
That's all right. If there is anything else, you've got my contact details, so just send me an email or give me a call, etc. I'm around most of the time, and if not, just leave me a message and I'll get back to you.
Fab. Thank you.
No problem. Have a good weekend.
And you.
See you later. Bye.